Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, or hi if you're new. My name is Kent. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. So today I thought I would take you guys through my top 10 holiday reads, 4 for summer, 4 for winter, and then 2 little bonus extras that don't really count as books you can kind of sit down and read, but are just 2 of my favorites that I feel like I would be doing an injustice to you if I didn't talk about. I thought I should just kind of tell you a little bit about the books I like to read before we get started. So I have a very specific genre that I enjoy. It's pretty much anything suspenseful. I love true crime, I love thrillers. I also tend to gravitate a lot more towards female authors, as you'll see when I'm going through my book selection, that literally every single one of them is a woman. So that was something interesting to discover. I also love books that are mainly written from the first person. So if that kind of sounds like the books you guys like to read, then stick around for this video and let's get into it. So you guys are probably wondering why I would divide books up by seasons, because why should a book be season dependent? You should just be able to pick up a book and read it whenever you feel like it, but I'll tell you why I feel that way. I think that when you're reading a book in summer, the chances are you're lying out in the sun, or you're on the beach, or you're by the pool, and it's more like a pick up, put down kind of book that doesn't take a long time to get back into once you've stepped away from it for a while. So the books I've chosen are books that I feel fall into that category. They're books that I read during summer and I blew through them, so that's a good sign, because my attention span is not always the best when I'm on holiday. We are going into the middle of June now, so in the northern hemisphere you guys are going into summer, we're going into winter properly now. So depending on where you are, I think you probably do have some kind of a break coming up, and if you are looking to read a few books, take a break from the hustle of everyday life and just dive into a fantasy world, then these are definitely the books that I would recommend. So the first one from the summer pile, shall we say, is this book, The Wicked Sister by Dionne. When I say I blew through this book, I annihilated it. I think it took me 3 days. Insanely good. I'm just gonna read you a little bit of the blurb from the back because I don't want to give away too much, but if it sounds like it resonates with you, then definitely check it out more. For 15 years, Rachel Cunningham has chosen to lock herself away in a psychiatric facility, tortured by gaps in her memory and the certainty that she is responsible for her parents' deaths. But when she learns new details about their murders, Rachel returns in a quest for answers to the place where she once felt safest, her family's sprawling log cabin in the remote forests of Michigan. As Rachel begins to uncover what really happened to her the day her parents were murdered, she learns, as her mother did years earlier, that home can be a place of unspeakable evil, and that the bond she shares with her sister might be the most poisonous of all. That blurb just made me want to reread this. You won't be able to put this down. I've never read a book by this author before, but 10 out of 10 is my rating for this one. Would highly, highly recommend. Then the second book that I'm going to recommend is called The Body Lies by Jo Baker. Another great one. It's pretty short, to be fair, but it's written from the first person of a writer. I mean, obviously. The main character in the book is actually a writer. So it's set in the UK, this one, and again, really nice, easy, quick read, but still super gripping. This is a really good one and I will continue to recommend it. A young writer accepts a job at a university in the remote countryside to escape the big city and the scene of a violent assault she is desperate to forget. But when one of her students starts sending in chapters from his novel that blur the lines between fiction and reality, the professor recognizes herself as a main character in his book, and he has written her a horrific fate. Will she be able to stop life imitating art before it's too late? It really is so relatable and it's written really, really well. And at the same time, it sounds very heavy, but it's still really light and easy to get through. We'll give this one 8 out of 10. Number 3, The Winters by Gabriele. If you guys have seen Rebecca on Netflix, this is a book based off of the book that Rebecca was based off on. Just take a minute to let that all sink in. This is basically a modern twist on the tale of Rebecca. If you guys haven't seen Rebecca, I highly recommend you see it. It's a really, really, really good movie. For me, I found the book actually so much better than the movie, and this book is not even the book that the movie was based off of. This book was based off of the original book. The same kind of storyline, but it's put a current twist on things. So there's like social media involved. It's just a lot more relatable, and I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. I was actually kind of like umming and ahhing about starting it, and the minute, no jokes, I read the first line, I was like, no, I'm in, you sold me. After a whirlwind romance, a young woman returns to the opulent, secluded mansion of her new fiance, Max Winter, a wealthy senator and recent widower, and a life of luxury she's never known. But all is not as it appears at the Ashley estate. The house is steeped in the memory of Max's beautiful first wife, Rebecca, who haunts the young woman's imagination and feeds her uncertainties, while his very alive teenage daughter, Dani, makes her life a living hell. As the soon-to-be Mrs. Winter grows more in love with Max and more afraid of Dani, she is drawn deeper into the family's dark secrets, the kind of secrets that could kill her too. Inspired by the classic novel Rebecca, The Winters is a riveting story about what happens when a family's ghosts resurface and threaten to upend everything. So I think this one I'm gonna give 9 out of 10. Highly recommend. If that didn't grip you, then I don't know what will. Number 4 on our summer list, My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. Another extremely gripping book. Blew through it again. Listen to this little description by another author on the front cover. Dexter meets Gone Girl. Couldn't have said it better myself. Every marriage has secrets, everyone has flaws. Your wife isn't perfect, you know that, but then again, nor are you. But now a serial killer's on the loose in your small town, preying on young women. Fear is driving your well-behaved young daughter off the rails, and you find yourself in bed late at night, looking at the woman who lies asleep beside you. Because you knew she had a dark side, you just didn't realize it was darker than your own. Guys, the twist in this thing. I mean, even from the first page, you like, no, surely they can't just be getting into that like that just already. Like, whoa, Denise, ease in. Promise you, they do, and it's so good. 10 out of 10. So that is our summer pile done, all books that maximum took me 3 days to get through in total, or not in total, but per book. So if you're looking for quick, easy, but super juicy ones, highly recommend those 4. Now let's get into the slightly slower paced, a little bit more attention requiring, but still extremely good winter books. First one, Never Have I Ever by Joshilyn Jackson. So I'd never read a book by this author before. This one took me a bit longer to read. It probably took me about 3 weeks in total. And it is a little bit more complicated, but it's still extremely good, and another reason why I would recommend this as a winter book. Perfect to curl up on the couch with and just try smash out a chapter or 2 as you go. It starts as a game at a book group one night. Never have I ever done something I shouldn't. But Amy Way has done something she shouldn't, and Rue, the glamorous newcomer to Amy's suburban neighborhood, knows exactly what that is. Rue promises she will go away. She will take herself and her son, who is already growing dangerously close to Amy's stepdaughter, and she will go, if Amy plays by her rules. But Amy isn't prepared to lose everything she's built. She's going to fight back. And in this escalating game of cat and mouse, there can only be one winner. A lot of twists and turns will always keep you guessing, and I think that's why you kind of keep coming back to it. It's never boring, never dull. So I would probably give this one an 8 out of 10. And this is actually the most recent book I've read, aside from the one that I am currently reading, and it is The Second Wife by Rebecca Fleet. So everyone brings baggage to a new relationship. When Alex met Natalie, she changed his life. After the tragic death of his first wife, which left him a single parent, teenage daughter Jade, he's determined to build a happy family. But his newfound happiness is shattered when the family home is gutted by fire and his loyalties are unexpectedly tested. Jade insists she saw a man in the house on the night of the fire. Natalie denies any knowledge of such an intruder. Alex is faced with an impossible choice, to believe his wife or his daughter. And as Natalie's story unravels, Alex realizes that his wife has a past he had no idea about, a past that might yet catch up with her. Okay, so the only thing I'll say about this book is I figured out the twist pretty early on, but it does kind of sway you back and forth for you not really knowing whether you've cracked it or you haven't. It's just like a little inkling you have. Not a minute wasted reading this, so I highly recommend you guys check this one out as well. Let's give it an 8 out of 10. It's deserving of an 8 out of 10. The next book I actually read about 2 years ago, I'd say, in the winter holidays. Again, it took me a little bit longer than the summer books to get through, but it didn't take me as long as the others. By Phoebe Locke. It's called The July Girls. And it's told from two perspectives, so from the one sister and the other sister, and it's basically about their dad and his potential connection to a series of crimes that have happened in London. Every year on the same night in July, a woman is taken from the streets of London, snatched by a killer who moves through the city like a ghost. Addie has a secret. On the morning of her 10th birthday, 4 bombs were detonated across the capital. That night, her dad came home covered in blood. She thought he was hurt in the attacks, but then her sister, Jessie, found a missing woman's purse hidden in his room. Jessie says they mustn't tell. She says there's nothing to worry about. But when she takes a job looking after the woman's baby daughter, Addie starts to realize that her big sister doesn't always tell her the whole story, and that the secrets they're keeping may start costing lives. Need I say any more? Give this guy a 9 out of 10, I think. Okay, then the final winter book I am currently in the middle of right now. It still deserves a mention because I already know that it would be on my top 10 list. It is 500 pages, so it's actually probably one of the biggest books I've read. The author's Tana and it's called The Wych Elm. Guys, if any of you are from Ireland or the UK and you know how to correctly pronounce that word, please let me know down below, because I've been saying it a few times and I just feel like it's not right. Is it Wych Elm, Wych Elm, Wych Elm? I don't know. If you know, please tell me because I'm very curious. I have another book by her that I haven't read yet. My mom actually recommended her to me as an author in general, and so far I'm very pleasantly surprised. One night changes everything for Toby. A brutal attack leaves him traumatized, unsure even of the person he used to be. He seeks refuge at the family's ancestral home, the Ivy House, home to cherished memories of wild strawberry summers and teenage parties with his cousins. But a few days after Toby's arrival, a discovery is made. A skull, tucked neatly inside the elderly Wych Elm in the garden. Wych Elm, help. I don't know how to pronounce that. As detectives begin to close in on them, Toby is forced to examine everything he thought he knew about his family and himself. So the first about 200 pages are about the attack he goes through and him trying to kind of recover from that. And then from about where I am now, I'd say from here to the end is all about the skull that they found in the garden, and you know, who is it, why is it there, it all unravels, and it really, like, once it kind of hits that point, it's addictive. It's just one of those books that really kind of keeps you coming back for more, because you genuinely never know what's coming on the next page, which I think is really hard to do, especially when it's a book this length. So giving this one, and I'm not even finished it yet, a 10 out of 10, so that should say something. Guys, that is the I guess sit down reading book portion of this video, but I do want to share with you guys 2 of my favorite travel related books, coffee table books if you will. They're still books that are really nice to read if you are waiting for dinner to be made while you're on holiday, or you're having some wine or a cocktail. I love a good coffee table book, and I actually got these 2 very recently, and I read them both cover to cover, which is not something you generally, I guess, do with coffee table books. So this book is Unforgettable Journeys. Go down and see the world. So it's basically all about how journey is the destination, not where you're going. So it's how you get there, if that makes sense. It's got on foot, by road, by bike, by water, and by rail. So those are kind of the travel styles that it has. And then in amongst that, it's got North America, it's got Europe, Central and South America, Africa, the Middle East, Australasia, and Asia. If you are active and you want to literally chuck on a backpack and go explore the world, this is an incredible book to buy, and it doesn't hurt that the images are stunning, and I absolutely love it. So 10 out of 10 again for this one. And anybody who's looking to update their bucket list, you need this book. Great Destinations of a Lifetime. It's got everything from waterfalls to natural wonders of the world, like it's all across the world, and each place has got an image of what you can see there, as well as a little blurb about the place itself. So it's a very quick read. As you can see, it's mainly images, not so much text, so it's a typical coffee table book, but also really nice to just flip through if you are planning a holiday somewhere, or you're updating your vision board, your bucket list. You can pretty much order it online. It's available in the US, the UK, and in Canada, so definitely keep an eye out for this one. It is by Claudia Martin, and it's great if you're planning a trip or if you just want some holiday inspo. So yeah guys, that is my final list of summer and winter reads. If you guys did like this video and you want to see more of this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below if you've got any questions. And happy reading. I will check in with you guys in my next video. Bye.